Hello and welcome everybody to TRYbcast episode 005, recorded January 6, 2017. Don't be stupid, stupid. We got a great show for you today. Coming up, we got Tom's Slang of the Week. We have our weekly game review, where this week we'll be looking at a game called Mini Metro, and we will discuss, is it Apple's fault that a 5-year-old died in a car crash? All this is coming up next. So welcome everyone. This is TRYbcast episode 005, I believe we're on. I am joined again with Jake and Tom at Jake Bathman and at Skanoy1217. I am your host
You remembered.
at DM Buddy. We got a pretty good show for you coming up, but why don't we just jump into it? How was everyone's holiday?
Good.
Fantastic. Super relaxed.
Tom was gone for like weeks at a time.
Like 2 weeks. Yeah. I was up in Jersey.
weird.
And then you went to Philly, right, for the fireworks? Or for
Yeah.
4th of July.
For 4th of July, and then I came back here.
Nice.
Yeah.
Time traveled back here.
Yeah.
Those were a long 2 weeks.
It was great. Felt like 6 months or something.
This was last year.
I
But
saw,
yeah.
Tom, I saw your picture on Snapchat or Instagram or something. I thought you had one brother and one sister.
I do. That's my the other girl is my first cousin. So that's my mom's sister's daughter. So and
Is that how cousins work?
I think so. In some countries. So,
Awesome.
yeah, but we're all pretty close, so it was a good time catching up.
Awesome. Jake, did you do anything noteworthy?
No, we were here in town the whole time. We did nothing. We're in Texas, so it was like 75 on Christmas Day. It was ridiculous.
Oh my God.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a
amazing.
white Christmas? Or not a
Yeah,
white Christmas, but like a cold Christmas?
Yeah, when we lived in New Mexico, we would go up to the mountains sometimes. We had a cabin up in the mountains, so we would go up there and for Christmas, and it'd be snowing and stuff. So I've experienced it. We just don't get it all the time anymore.
Yeah, I can't imagine having a warm summer. I mean, a warm summer.
Warm summer.
Well,
I
now
can't
that
either.
now that I live in Boston, it's freaking cold all the time. But yeah, I can't imagine having a warm Christmas. That seems
Well, not even that, but like our friend Boone down in the southern hemisphere in New Zealand.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
It's his
it's
summer.
it's the summer.
Yeah.
It's super freaking weird. It's
Yeah.
like
Like he's on the beach
I can't wrap
with
my
a
head
Santa
around.
hat. Like
Yeah, he said it was like, what did he say? It was like hit 47 Celsius, which is like over 100 something degrees
crazy.
on or near Christmas, which is stupid.
just nuts.
Imagine having Christmas in the summer. Like Christmas means snow and cold and like, I don't know, like the whole ethos of Christmas is dead if it's hot and in the summer. It's just weird.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd
you
do
don't
it.
see old Saint Nick in shorts and a t-shirt.
Please, God, no. We don't.
Still
we
got
don't
his
need to see
giant
that.
beard though.
So pasty. I don't want to see that.
I'd do it though. I'd do that one time.
I mean, some
just
people like go to their beach house in Florida or something. You could do that.
Yeah.
I guess so. Yeah. Probably be cheaper.
But speaking of New Year's, do you guys have any New Year's resolutions that you plan to break in the first month?
Tom?
I try to stay away from them just because they get so cliche. Like, oh, I'm gonna go to the gym, and that never happens. So I don't know. For me, my New Year's resolution would just be like, go out more, try to travel more, and
So
Hey.
arbitrary things that you can't really like quantify.
You can't fail.
yeah,
If
yeah,
you
I
don't
can't fail.
quantify it, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Just very, vague resolutions
Awesome.
set
How
up
about
set
you?
up for success.
How about you, Jake? Do you have anything?
No, I'm in a lot of the same boat. The idea of a resolution, it feels a little silly to me, mostly because I don't want to go with the herd like a lot of people do. So I would feel like that was going along and participating in a fad. However, about a month before New Year's, I did get a new Apple Watch. So using that as an excuse to actually use some of its health tracking things. That's my resolution is a month prior is use my many hundreds of dollars new toy that's on my wrist. So to the extent I have a resolution, it's that.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I didn't make a New Year's resolution this year. About a month and a half ago, actually, it was right around Thanksgiving. I went home to visit my wife's family, and my wife's mom called me fat. I'm not really I'm not really that fat. I think she said it like lovingly, but I have gained
Like-
weight over the past year or so.
But I mean, that's like I have a 9-month-old boy, and he's got like all the baby chubby fat. Was she saying it like that? Like, oh, you're like chubby.
Yeah,
Like,
well, no,
that's the
I
only
mean,
way it could be
no,
cute
no,
and
no.
endearing.
So she said you need to lose weight. But I mean, she said it lovingly. So
Yeah,
that
as lovingly
makes
as
it
you
better.
can.
Yeah.
so about like right around Thanksgiving time, I like started getting my ass in gear and using the iPhone app, My Fitness Pal, to eat healthier, which has been working. I mean,
Oh, it's awesome. That app is awesome.
yeah, not
Because
to
it has
How does
every
it
single
work?
thing. Well, you add in, like, if you go out to eat or if you're making something at home, you search its crazy huge database of the foods and restaurants and everything. It has all the caloric whatevers and all the, for lack of a better word, minerals. What the fuck am I looking for? Come on.
so
Vitamins?
nutrients,
What's the
and it has
nutrients?
yeah.
God damn.
and it breaks
Yes.
it up into macros and stuff, so like what percentage of your calories are coming from carbs and fats and protein and stuff. So
neat.
It's great.
there's some statistic, I don't remember what it is, but just tracking what you eat and not changing your diet really will cause you to lose weight, because you'll finally see like, oh, that Chipotle burrito is actually like 1,200 calories.
Yeah.
So then you look at it and you're like, oh shit. But the nice thing about My Fitness Pal is even if you make your own food at home, or if you go, like Jake said, it has the restaurants in it. So you can just type in like, oh, I'm at, Fridays and I'm eating their bacon double deluxe cheeseburger. It'll have the caloric intake for it. But even if you have, like, say you have Pop-Tarts at home, you can actually scan the barcode on the food and it knows what the nutrition values are and then puts it into the app for you. And even things like I go to Costco a lot and I buy stuff in bulk, and you can scan the Costco barcodes and it knows like, oh, you just bought a gross of bake at home pretzels. Each pretzel is 200 calories or something.
I thought you were about to say bacon.
Well, actually, I do have like a shitload of bacon, but
You just bought 13 pounds of bacon.
it's actually I
Costco.
think it's 3 or 5. But anyway,
So
so
stupid.
Oh, that's amateur.
It's fine. Yeah, I'll finish that tomorrow.
so it's been about a month or so. Not to like toot my own horn, but I've lost 5 pounds, which I think is pretty good.
Nice.
That's
And
awesome.
then I like didn't realize that New Year's resolutions were like a thing. Like I wasn't paying attention to the time of year, and I was starting to think like, oh, maybe I should join a gym. There's like all these like super discounts right now.
Oh yeah.
Don't do it.
And then like I was reading an article and I was like, oh shit, that's right. Actually, it was on Reddit. Someone was like posted a picture of like the gym January 1st and the gym February 1st and how like different it is. Like it's crowded with people and there's no one in there February 1st. And then I was like, oh yeah, New Year's resolutions. Everyone does this now. So it wasn't really a resolution started in the new year. It just was a realization that,
Continuation.
yeah.
Right.
So,
Over
but,
someone calling you fat, and then
Yes,
and then you got to
but-
do something about it.
but someone calling me fat lovingly.
Oh well, that's what
That's
matters.
that's the thought that counts, really.
Yeah. So we'll see. I guess moving on. Do you have a word of the week for us, Tom?
Oh
No,
yeah.
it's
It's
Tom's
slang.
slang corner.
It's my slang corner in the alley.
It sounds like you're selling
Trademarked.
slang words out of the back alley.
They're equally as skeezy as that. That's why I think the name fits really well.
It's kind of is, yeah. So this actually slang word of the week I actually learned over break from my sister. So the word is stanning. STANNING. Stanning.
So like standing,
Standing?
but instead of the D, it's another N.
yeah, stanning. Right.
Stan's a South Park character, right? Is it related to the South Park character?
Oh,
It-
that would be nice. Yeah.
It is not though.
Oh,
That's-
Oh fuck.
That's not bad,
Uh,
but no.
yeah, that was a good guess.
is there anyone famous named Stan?
It is based off something famous with
Flat
Stan.
Stanley.
Flat Stanley?
Like, I don't know what
Isn't
that
that a
is.
thing? It's like a traveling. I don't even know. I can't explain it.
I know like Stanley
Standing.
screwdrivers, but that's spelled differently. Oh, standing, not Stanley.
Yeah, not Stanley.
Right.
Standing.
I
But,
know there's-
I mean, it's a verb. Like if you were jaking, you'd be doing something. And now if you're standing, you could be doing something that Stan would do. So I think that's.
I'm thinking the only thing I can think of is that Eminem song "Stan," where he like kills his girlfriend or something and drives her over a bridge. And they
That
die.
is actually the basis of the word, so you're
Oh,
on the
alright.
right track.
Bring it on.
So standing is tying your wife or girlfriend up, putting her in the trunk, and driving over a bridge and killing both yourselves.
No.
How does that come up in conversation?
Okay, so the way it works is, well, the definition is stalker plus fan, so stan, and it's
Oh,
it's someone being overly obsessed with an artist, a person, a character, etc. So.
Oh, that's what happens in the song.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what it comes from. So, like, using it in a sentence would be like, I've been standing Beyonce for so long, I couldn't stop if I wanted to, or something like that. Or I stand Westworld over the winter break.
Can you do you have to stand a person though? Could you stand?
Well,
like
you just said Stan
yeah, like-
Westworld.
right, but I don't know. You can't really stalk a not person.
You can the way I see it is like you overly obsessed with something, like you
Like
just consume.
fangirl to the extreme.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
All right,
So
that's a pretty good word.
use it in your everyday vocab.
Yeah.
So is it used on social media at all? Like Twitter and
sometimes.
Instagram? Like, will you use like the hashtag standing when you're stalking someone? Like, I
Yeah.
can't think of when you would use this in not normal everyday talk, because you wouldn't unless you're an asshole. But
I honestly, I'd see it more just in normal talk rather than on Twitter. But yeah, you'd use it like hashtag obsessed, hashtag stan.
Yeah, I'm seeing some examples on Twitter of people using it in that context,
so
specifically with Beyonce.
so you could say like, I'm totally standing on like Bill right now. Like if you were a chick in high school.
Oh
you
yeah,
would- okay.
yeah.
Like Bill Clinton.
So
Bill
I could
Clinton.
So I could say I'm like totally standing on Tom's sister.
There you go. Yep. Yeah,
There
I
it
knew that was
is.
gonna come out.
There
That's a good
No,
word.
you're not, because she hasn't friended you back on Facebook yet.
I can still stalk her.
You
Good luck
friended
with
my
that.
sister?
No.
I don't know. I kind of assumed he did, but
God.
No.
it's okay, Tom. He's just standing her. It's
No.
all right.
I just look at her from afar.
Oh my God.
Good God.
I'm really glad I don't know that Eminem song, because this could get even more awkward.
You don't know that song? That's a great song.
No, I'll have
It's
to
a
look it up.
fantastic song. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll link
About
to it in the show
about a
notes.
super fan for Eminem.
Yeah.
I think he kills himself.
Yeah.
What a great song.
Spoiler.
Yeah.
Spoiler. He kills himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, in case you haven't heard this song that came out in like 2005.
It came
Yeah, it was
out
not
in
hip
December 9th, 2000. So it's even older.
Okay.
Jesus.
So there you go.
It was a very controversial song. There was some chick in it too, I believe.
I mean, maybe if I heard it, I would recognize it. I'll listen to it
Yeah,
after
it's like
this.
I don't know.
It has it has a sample from it.
Actually, all of his songs have samples in it. I've have recently noticed, but
Oh yeah, that's true. It's like a Dido song.
yeah, that's what it is.
Oh boy,
Really good.
So standing,
There
I
you go.
like that. That's a good one.
that is a good one.
My slang corner
Yeah,
coming at you.
We need some sound effect.
Coming at you,
Street
fam.
corner.
that word is dumb lit. We're gonna have to make a list and see how many ridiculous sentences we can make from all
Out of
these
just
stupid
hip
words.
kid slang.
Yeah.
It should be like maybe we should make that like an Easter egg in the podcast. Like we'll slip it in,
Yeah.
like subtly, and just see if anybody picks it up.
I'll try and use standing for the rest of the episode.
Okay.
Well, speaking of standing, one thing that I am standing on right now is this mobile game or Windows game called Mini Metro. It is a puzzle strategy video game developed by Dinosaur
something?
Polo Club.
Yeah.
Is the name of
That's awesome.
the developers. basically what it is players are tasked with constructing a rail transit system. So like the MBTA in Boston, or just the MTA in New York City, or SEPTA in Philly. If you live in any of those cities, it's basically just it's a rail transit system for a rapidly growing city. And as you progress in the levels, the stations, like more stations pop up, and these stations are represented by different shapes, and the players have to build tracks connecting the stations to one another by drawing lines. It's a touch-based game. Yeah, and each station has a different geometric shape, and the passengers are also geometric shapes, and you have to get the correct passenger to the correct station. So it's like it's just a tiny puzzle game. Right now, it is $4.99 on iOS. It's $4.99 on Android, and it is $10 on Windows. I actually bought the Windows beta back in, I think, 2015, and I've had it in my Steam library for a while, and it just was lowered recently to 99 cents in the iOS store, I think over Christmas break, somewhere around there. And I've been playing it, I would say daily. It's a fun little puzzle game to, play. I mean, what is your opinion on it, Jake? I know that I turned you on to it.
Well, just real quick, it's not actually just on Windows. Since it's a full Steam game, I just went on here to double check, and it is cross-platform on PC as well. So Mac and Windows via Steam can play it. So it's a game for everybody. I am totally addicted to it. I finished all the cities, because you kind of progress through harder and harder cities.
You
start
have
out with London.
Okay.
So I finished all the cities on the whatever easy mode or normal, whatever it is.
Right.
And then now I'm obsessed with getting the challenges. So there are different challenges. There's the main challenges, which are kind of the main ones, which are just get some number of passengers on each city. So the Oyster Challenge is deliver 200 passengers in London. And then there's the, I guess, extra challenge, which is like the Thames Tunnel, deliver 1,000 passengers in London using no more than one tunnel, because there's bodies of water and you got to kind of burrow under them.
Oh wow.
Those ones are hell hard. That's the only thing that I don't really like so far. I mean, I guess that's the whole point. This will keep me playing for a long time. These challenges are really, really hard. Deliver 1,300 passengers in Paris using no more than 3 lines. And as you progress through the game, it gives you more supplies, I guess is a decent word for it. You get the ability to build more rails or put more locomotives on the existing rails you have and things like that. So these challenges kind of hamper you in one of those ways and see if you can still deliver passengers. It's a fun freaking game. I already tried to get Amanda addicted to it as well. I don't know if she's played it very much, but man, it's such a simple little game, but it's so fun.
So do you have? Oh, sorry. I was gonna ask a question just because I'm coming into it cold.
Bring it.
So do you have limited resources, limited number of tracks and stuff? Okay, is that?
Yeah. So you start out with the ability to build a certain number of tracks. I think almost for all cities, it's 3 tracks, and you have a certain number of locomotives and tunnels or bridges, depending on. So New York City, it's a bridge. A lot of other places, it's a tunnel, because all the maps have some water, some river near it.
Okay.
So it's a timed type thing where the days continue to step through, fake days, as you play the game. So in the upper right hand corner, it goes from Monday to Sunday, and there's a little clock that spins around, and more passengers get on your lines on Friday and Saturday nights than on a Tuesday morning. But if you make it through Sunday night at midnight, then you get rewarded with some additional supply. So you get an additional locomotive, and then you pick between 2 new tunnels and a carriage to extend your the number of passengers you can go on one line. It keeps adding every week that you survive, so to speak. You keep going, and you try and make sure that none of your stations gets overcrowded, that there are too many people there waiting for too long to get a train.
Okay. Wow. That sounds cool.
So it's a survival type gameplay.
Right.
Yeah, it's never ending.
Yeah.
And so, Jake, you were talking about easy mode, and then there's, I think, expert mode or normal mode and expert mode. In the normal mode, which I didn't realize when I first started playing the game, is you can actually pause the time. So you can like stop time and then you can redraw all of your tracks if you want in normal mode. And then in expert mode, once you draw your tracks like between stations, you're not allowed to remove them anymore. So that you just have to rely on getting bigger stations and adding more train cars to your tracks or adding more carriages to your trains. So it's fun. So it's like a basic puzzle game that I think anyone over the age of 4 could probably play. Yeah. But then it gets pretty complicated as you get later. But I think for kids, it's probably a great game. For, adults, it's a great game. I had an eye doctor appointment this morning, and I was playing in the doctor's office while I was waiting for my eyes to dilate, and it passed the 15-20 minutes quick. I don't know if it's worth $4.99. That's a little steep for an iOS game. 99 cents is definitely worth it. If you could pay $9.99 for the Steam version and then get the iOS and
that should happen.
Android version, that's totally worth it. But like I said, I bought the beta of it because when I first played it, or I bought the game when it was in beta. I played the beta of it, thought it was awesome, and I was like, here's my $10. Make this game because it's awesome. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'd be curious to see what your child, Bree, thinks, Jake. Like, if she would understand it.
Yeah, I think she's probably a little too young to grasp the mechanics of it because you have to have a little bit of kind of planning and I don't know, because she's also never seen a train. I don't know if if the analogy would really hold. Because we don't have any commuter rail over here or anything. Yeah, it's a good question. I'll sit her down on my lap tomorrow and see if she likes it. Just watching me play.
Yeah, I think that's amazing about some games is that they're games, but they really like teach you to think critically.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I like about this game a lot is when you and I've watched I've introduced it to some people. I'll just give them my phone and a tutorial and just say, hey, play this. And I had the same struggles at the very beginning too, which is what the fuck do I do? The game drops you in the middle. There's no X button. You're not watching a video. You're in this little tutorial mode, and it doesn't tell you anything. It helps with like there's one little icon that just shows you like, okay, touch here and then drag your finger over here and then release it on this other shape, and that's how you draw your first line. That's it though. It lets you figure out everything from there. Figure out what's the most efficient. Do you have some north-south routes and then some east-west and then a diagonal and a loop, and should you put like all circles on one? Should you put all squares to evenly distribute? It makes you figure all that out on your own. There's no hints. There's no in-app purchases. There's no extra boost, extra life, something. It's just simple gameplay mechanics and a good algorithm to feed you passengers and stations over time. And it really makes it challenging. The better you get, the more you have to adapt your strategy and tactics for the game.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah,
that's great.
I'm glad that you mentioned that there's no in-app purchases, because I think that's where this game excels, because it starts out pretty easy and then it progressively gets harder and harder, and then you just get to this point where you're like overwhelmed, because what the game tends to do is put a lot of the same shapes together. So you'll be drawing your tracks and you'll have, say, four circle stations in the top right hand corner of the map. Well, like that eventually kills you because you have all these like stations together that are the same shape and no one can get off your train, so they get stuck. But anyway, once you die, or like once the game ends, I guess, or you lose, I'm always sitting there like, oh man, I totally screwed that up. All right, forget it. I'm just gonna play another game. Where games like like Candy Crush and Clash of Clans and all these other games, like you have a number of moves you can make an hour, or you have lives that you lose. This is just the game. There's nothing you can add. I think if they were going to do any kind of in-app purchase, maybe they would do more maps later.
I would play for more maps. I'd pay for more maps, absolutely, because that's not a pay to play thing like that. Or
Right.
the Two Dots does that too. I play Two Dots a lot, and it does the same thing where you have like 5 hearts, and there's 20 minutes after you waste a heart for you to get it back. But you could pay us $5.99 to get unlimited hearts for 2 hours, which is insane.
Yeah.
There's none of that. It's insane, but there's none of that in Mini Metro, which is great. I would pay for more content, which is like bonus maps or whatever.
Yeah,
I wouldn't pay for any supplies or anything fungible.
Yeah, stuff like that actually turns me off. Like when I get to like the end of
Yeah.
like a mobile game and they're like, "Oh, you could pay 99 cents to unlock this now or wait an hour." I'm like, I just uninstall.
Yeah,
Done.
screw you.
The ones where you like pay once or some of them you don't even pay and it's just like, as long as you keep playing it over and over again, you'll eventually unlock everything. Those
Yeah.
are like the most rewarding to me. And at the end, it's kind of like the Rocket League syndrome. It's like at the end, if they decide to add in something like cosmetic or add in other stuff, then I'm like more inclined to give them money.
Oh, can we take a pause and talk about Rocket League really quickly?
Sure.
Yeah.
PlayStation came out, I think today or yesterday, said it was the most downloaded game in the PSN store of 2016, which is really freaking awesome because what a great game. What a great testament to that model of it was free because it was on PS Plus for so many people, but we love the game so much. There's these crappy, all the mechanics don't really change if you get a new type of car, you get the DeLorean or whatever, but we were happy to pay for the DLC, just a couple of bucks here and there for new maps or new cars or whatever, stuff that we didn't really need or really want, but like it was such a good game. We feel like the developers deserve that,
Yeah.
like that's what a successful model, and to be the most downloaded game in the PSN store for 2016 is definitely an achievement.
That's awesome.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean, it was also free, so you run into the same issue again,
Oh, sure.
where Wii Sports was the number 3.
Oh yeah,
Most
because
purchased
it came
game.
with the bundled thing.
But sorry, what were you going to say, Tom? I didn't mean to cut you off.
I forgot actually. So
And it's gone. But I
Yep.
mean, even though so Wii Sports was bundled with the actual console, but this was a DLC. We're going to talk about more PS Plus games here in a little bit. But I mean, there's at least 2 free PS Plus games every month, and none of them had, they're not all top downloads. We all download a bunch of them. We just never usually play them.
That's
But
true.
this, I think, speaks to that it was free and it was such a successful game, and it needed that free thing to just get people hooked into it. Because some of these games I download for free on PS Plus, maybe if I played them, I would enjoy them just as much, if not more than Rocket League. But I never do. But it needs that. It would, if it wasn't free, I would definitely never just spend $15-$20 on a totally unknown game to give it a try. So having a fun game that starts out free like that is the easiest way for it to be so successful like that. And then when it is successful, you'll make that up in DLC because people want to reward you.
Yep.
And yeah, I hope like game developers start going in that direction. You kind of see like with Overwatch or like Titanfall, like game developers will be like, okay, all DLC, you pay once and then all DLC is free from now on, rather than nickel and diming you. I think that it's more consumer friendly, and hopefully that becomes the trend moving forward.
What, you don't want to pay $22 for enough COD points to get the Christmas bundle for Infinite Warfare? And
I mean,
to get the random chance of maybe getting some type of a weapon that you want, but probably you're just going to get some shitty camos for $20.
I mean, after spending like, $100 for both games and the season pass, I can't think of anything better than just
Right?
spend
There's
more
more and more
on
money.
it. Yeah, and that's a whole other story with
Oh,
COD,
God.
and its model is just terrible compared
Yeah.
to.
I mean, I think one of these days we're going to spend an entire podcast talking about pay to play, because that's something I really want to talk about,
Yeah.
but we don't have to hash it out here.
Yeah, there's a lot to discuss with that. I agree, but
But Mini Metro, awesome game.
Yeah.
Download it. I think even for $4.99, because of the lack of IAP and the type of game that it is, it's it doesn't really end. You can keep pushing yourself. I think it's worth it for $4.99. I
Yeah.
liked it.
just real quick, in case you don't care about our opinions on the game and are still on the fence, its Steam rating is 10 out of 10. Its Google Play is 4.8 out of 5, and its Apple iTunes rating is 4.8 out of 5. So,
That's not bad.
yeah.
Not bad at all.
And I just had it up. Google Play, that like basic 5-star rating is from 3,271 votes or reviews, and Mini Metro is from 1,400 on the iTunes store. So it is a very good game. I recommend that you play it. And speaking of PSN games, this week, so for next podcast, there is a PSN game called Titan Souls that we are going to play and review. So if you want to download it and play it and try it yourself, you should do that. Real quick, Titan Souls is a strategic open world 2D top-down action adventure where the player only has one arrow and can only take one hit. The goal is to defeat 19 giant monsters called Titans, which, just like the player, can only take one hit but only have one way to be defeated. During the fight, the player has to figure out how the respective boss behaves, and by that, figure out how to defeat the boss. The difficulty is that a single arrow has to be charged and shot, and afterwards it has to be picked up to be reused, and the action of shooting your arrow can only be done while you're standing still, making you an easy target for the bosses. So just from the description, it sounds like it's fun. If you have PSN, like PlayStation Network or PlayStation Plus, you can download the game for free this month. So we're going to try that. So I recommend that you do that.
Sounds fun just from the title. Yeah, just from that description.
Yeah, it's
Like easy to-
graphics don't seem super good. Like, it's not a AAA title. It's more of this like standard pixel, very pixelated
it's
stuff.
8-bit.
Oh, I like that. I like that
top-down.
better. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems neat. I'm excited. It's like very. It's the same. If you've played Zelda, you know what it looks like.
Okay.
It's that same point of view, same 8-bit framing. It's nice.
Nice. Love that.
Yeah, it's definitely a look.
Yep. So, all right, yeah. We're gonna move on now to a terrible story, I guess. I've heard of this story. I don't know if Jake or Tom had, so I'm going to read you a brief overview of this story to get Jake and Tom's initial reaction. There's a topic from the story that I want to discuss. Hopefully it is part of the same reaction that Jake and Tom have, but
Man, this could be anything.
Oh boy.
I do not know what's about to come.
I apologize if I mispronounce names. They are strange names. But anyway, this story is... I'm reading the review of the story, or reading the article from Yahoo News. So on December 24th, 2014, Bethany and James Modisette were driving near Dallas in their Toyota Camry with their two daughters, Mariah and Isabel. Were in the back seat, and due to some police activity on the road, traffic had all but stopped. Behind them, however, was a person called Garrett Wilhelm. He failed to notice that the other cars around him had slowed, and Garrett was, driving, and his 4Runner collided with their car, doing 65 miles an hour, causing the sedan to lurch forward and spin 180 degrees. The Toyota 4Runner then hit the Camry again, and the SUV drove up over the length of the car's driver's side. So it hit, they were driving 65, it slammed into the back of the car, it threw the car forward and spun around, it did a 180, and then the SUV drove over the front of the car and crushed the driver's side side of the car.
I think I ever hear about this.
Yeah, so James, who was driving, and Mariah, who was seated behind him, were both rushed to a medical facility, but sadly the 5-year-old girl Mariah died from her injuries shortly after. At the scene, Garrett Wilhelm, the guy driving the 4Runner, said that he was speaking with someone on FaceTime on his iPhone at the time of the crash, and when the police found the iPhone, the FaceTime was still open. Wilhelm has been free on bail since August, awaiting trial for manslaughter, which begins on February 27th. In the meantime, though, the family has filed a suit against Apple in California's state court. The suit against Apple is they're suing Apple because they said that they have the ability to prevent FaceTime from being used on an iPhone while the device is in a car traveling at high speeds, but the tech company failed to do so. So essentially, someone was in a car accident. The driver of the car that crashed into a car and killed this family's 5-year-old daughter was using FaceTime at the time, and now the family is suing Apple, saying that you should have prevented this.
Yeah, so I do remember reading about this, whatever it was, a week or two ago, and so very sad, of course, but these types of lawsuits drive me insane. The whole, I don't know. I've never been through something like this, so maybe you have such a propensity to want to point fingers, or you have a bunch of lawyers that want to test something like this, and this is a good case. If you want to test the culpability of a software vendor for some feature or lack of a feature in some manner, then this is a good test case for it. But in general, this type of a lawsuit drives me insane, and I can't stand it because this, Apple had nothing to do with this accident. People are going to be distracted by something. And the idea that you could have locked FaceTime somehow in some way, knowing that it was in the driver's hands and not the passenger's, and that he was driving, there's so many ways that is a very, very, very difficult thing to do for a software vendor. And so that doesn't surprise me that that's not a part of our phones right now, to lock us out of certain features if we're driving. But the dude being an idiot on FaceTime is what caused this crash. FaceTime didn't cause this crash. Apple didn't cause this crash. There have been how many billions of instances of FaceTime use that didn't result in a fatal accident. To blame this on a software vendor that's not even kind of related. It just happened to be the thing. If he was eating a cheeseburger from McDonald's and he had to look down at his lap because he spilled some ketchup on his shirt, you wouldn't sue McDonald's for not assembling the burger properly to prevent the slippage of ketchup onto his shirt when he was going. You know what I mean? It's that kind of a link that doesn't make any sense to me. Am I alone here?
I actually would agree with you on the sentiments there. It's from the tech company standpoint, it's really hard to just think of all these different scenarios where people could be using these things, when they shouldn't be. And the onus, the responsibility has to be on the person actually using the tool. It's the same if he was texting or changing the song on his phone, or he could be doing a million different things to get distracted, and it's only the driver's fault in that sense. So I would agree with you on that, and I feel like maybe they're trying to test something, or maybe they want to get some retribution somewhere, but I don't know. It's that just blaming the blaming the tech company, just blaming Apple for it. To me, it's like when people try to, they blame video games. They used to blame violent video games for school shootings.
Yeah.
I don't see a direct correlation to that. I think it's just people trying to make a scapegoat out of something, rather than.
Jeff, was that your reaction as well?
So, sort of. So there are apps. Snapchat is one of them, and Waze is one of them, that now say, Waze specifically, and the GPS is in your car, there pops up a warning saying, don't use the GPS when the car is in motion, or some cars even lock you out from changing the destination while the car is in drive. But Waze in particular says, are you the passenger of the car? If you're the passenger, you click OK, and then you can, open up Waze and change the destination. There's the warning saying for your regular GPS in your car, don't fucking drive into a lake, you idiot, because people were following the GPS to the T. Turn right into this street. Okay.
That's literally a scene from The Office.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
exactly.
So he drives into the lake.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, and that is absurd. So is the tech there to give a warning saying hey, this phone is traveling at 15 miles an hour, you shouldn't use this feature. Are you the passenger? Click OK, you're the passenger, whatever. Pokemon Go also does the same thing. If you're traveling too fast, it doesn't, I don't know if it doesn't allow you to use the app or if it locks you out and you can't.
It doesn't allow you to take certain actions that you might otherwise, like catching Pokemon or going to the Pokestops.
Yeah, you won't be able to see any
if you're
Pokemon.
at a high rate of speed.
Right.
Yeah,
There's a box that pops up and you can clear it, but you can't actually do anything.
Right. So the tech is definitely there by the GPS and the accelerometers in your phone to say, like, hey, stupid, don't be fucking stupid. So do I think it's Apple's fault? No, of course not. It's the fucking guy's fault for being a dickhead and using FaceTime while he's driving. As I don't have kids, so I don't know what this is like, nor do I know. I couldn't even imagine what it's like to lose a child, especially one, at 5 years old and in this like horrific way. So as the family, do I blame them for suing Apple? No, like I don't think it's Apple's fault. I think maybe when you're grieving like this, you're just looking for anyone to blame. Because it's clearly not their fault. I mean, they were slowing down because of, police cars and, police activity or whatever. It's clearly the guy's fault. He was negligent, so I think charging him with manslaughter is perfectly fine. But suing Apple, so because there's, warnings on Waze and your GPS, and there's warnings on your coffee cups now because someone spilled coffee in their pocket, and there's like, there's essentially warnings on everything. I know that it's idiotic and people shouldn't be fucking stupid and do things, but I almost, in a way, blame Apple for not covering their ass.
How would they have, like, beforehand having something in the app that says, hey, you're traveling at a high rate of speed?
Yep, exactly. I mean, so I know it's a little different because we don't stop people from texting. We don't stop people from talking on their phones when driving, like no warnings pop up. So I look at it as the same, the same issue there is that if you're going to have this for FaceTime, you should probably have it for texting. And I believe there are apps you can download on your phone that lock out your phone when your phone is in motion.
iOS wouldn't be able to do that. For Android, there would be, but that's one of the issues with those types of things for iOS is the APIs aren't exposed to be able to do those type of system level things. You might have to like leave the app open and like sitting on your passenger seat or something, and that's the best you could do on iOS.
Apple could do it. I mean, they run.
Apple could do it. Yeah, it'd have to be first party.
Yeah,
or they
yeah,
have to
yeah,
allow
yeah,
those
yeah.
APIs, which I don't think they're in any rush to do.
It's like the same thing. So I don't know if any of you guys have Android Auto or CarPlay in your cars.
I have used it before. Yeah.
Yeah. So it locks out your phone, and you plug it in. You plug your phone in, or you connect over Bluetooth, and it like puts your phone into like an auto mode where it only has like access to the GPS, the phone, and your messages work, but it like reads you your messages and you can't type. You can only like use tech or speech to text to like respond to the messages. So the technology is there. And like I said, I don't necessarily blame Apple. Like it's not Apple's fault. I feel like they probably should have put a warning like, don't be fucking stupid. So they weren't in this case, so they weren't.
But at what point would you have to put that on in every action? Would it be something that would pop up every 5 minutes if your car's traveling more than 20 miles an hour? I mean, because I could see where and why that wouldn't ever happen on a first party device, because for every action that the user takes, it's a distraction. It's not just FaceTime. The dude could have been texting, which we've seen for, like train accidents. A conductor was texting on, it doesn't matter the device. You could have a goddamn flip phone for all I care. Mm-hmm. Just talking on the phone, even using CarPlay or Siri Eyes Free or Android Auto or whatever, just over your Bluetooth in your car, that's a distraction. Like I said, eating a hamburger. So like the idea that having a warning would reduce that distraction, I don't know. As a CYA thing, legally, maybe, but that seems dubious. And from a user interface standpoint, Apple would never put something so disgusting. I'm sure they would see it as this constant nagging pop-up every time you're a passenger in a car and it's going more than 40 miles an hour. So like, hey, are you driving? Hey, are you still not driving? Are you sure you're positive you're still not driving?
Well, I mean, I think you could do it just once, where you just click like, okay, I'm not driving. I acknowledge that if I do something stupid, it's not Apple's fault. I think that's probably what's going to come out of this. I could be wrong. But yeah, I mean, it's illegal in, I think, almost every state to text and drive now, or to text while driving. I guess it's not illegal to talk. It's illegal to hold your phone in most states.
For some states, it's illegal to hold your phone. In Texas, it's still not. In a lot of places, it's school zones. You have to have a hands-free device, or cell phone use is prohibited in a school zone.
So So when like the laws are written, is FaceTime considered a phone call?
Yeah, I don't know what the jurisprudence on that is.
Yeah.
And that's why I think originally, I think New York was one of the first to have a law like this a number of years ago, and they specifically said no phone use or something like that, and that left it deliberately vague, but not vague enough to incorporate like, okay, what if I'm texting someone, or what if I'm Snapchatting somebody? Does that constitute phone use? What if I have an iPad and it has the cell chip but it doesn't have a phone on it? It's like you could imagine a bunch of weird things like that. So now it's cell phone use, so you can't even just use your cell phone in any way for whatever reason. And so it's going to be something more deliberately vague like that, or more all-encompassing, that's going to have to be written into the laws to cover all these things. But I'm sure that there's an interpretation, or maybe there is in the statute, but they just don't put it on the signs, that has a more exhaustive list of what they're actually talking about.
But the thing is like, where do you draw the line? Like how you, like, if you're Apple, how do you think of all these situations? If you do it with FaceTime, you have to do it with all your other suite of apps.
Right, you have to do with everything.
How do you? There's no scenario. Bottom line, there's no scenario where you can make it completely foolproof, completely safe.
I'm trying to think of if there are any iOS anythings at any time that say do not use this while driving on first party. I can't think of any time I've read that.
Does the GPS say anything about not driving into lakes?
No.
It doesn't?
No.
I mean, the Apple Maps GPS defaults to voice prompts on. So I guess so you get to think from a UI UX perspective, they don't want to have something more for you to read on the screen, another OK button that people are just going to push for no reason without looking at it and forget about it. So they want to steer you to an experience that it's going to be as minimally distracting as possible. So for GPS, as soon as you start the route, it's voice prompts only, and you lock the phone, and they have a new lock screen thing where you can see the map route, and it'll go over your Bluetooth and tell you the directions. And if you have your watch on, it'll automatically switch to that and vibrate when it's time to turn right or left. And I think those are the minimally invasive things that they try to steer users towards, rather than a pop-up box.
Yeah.
I'm reading through this patent, by the way, and I obviously haven't read the whole thing because it's a number of pages long, but I mean, as any good patent is, this is hella vague. Like, there's these, they always have those great black and white little like line drawing figures, little engineering style, and they have a bunch of flowcharts too. But so there's one figure, it's like figure 1, where it's a top down view of a car, and it's like a very, very generalized boxes. There's an L shape safe operating area, which encompasses the back seat and the passengers, and the front passenger, and then the unsafe operating area, which is the driver's seat. Great that you've identified that on a little line drawing of a car, but without having to make modifications to the car, that is a really hard engineering task to determine, is this phone both within the unsafe operating area and being held by the person in the unsafe operating area. That is a really hard without making modifications to the car.
Yeah, without making modifications to the car, yes. But there are, my past 3 cars that I've had, well, it doesn't matter. At least one of my cars does not allow you to lock my keys in the trunk, or to lock the car while the keys are in the car. So on my old car, I had an Acura TL. If you had your keys in the trunk and closed the trunk automatically opened back up. So you couldn't lock your keys.
That's really awesome.
And
That's the future.
And it's it wasn't different. So like if you had your key in the back seat on the seat, you could close the trunk and it wouldn't open back up. So there's definitely a way to tell like where this thing is.
How did they do that? Is it triangulated? I don't even.
It's got to be
That's neat.
triangulated RFID or something. I don't know.
Either RFID or like BLE. You could do BLE for the phone, but see that's a car modification too. And I mean, Apple could barely there's a consortium of car manufacturers that are in there. What is that called? There's some CarPlay Android Auto alternative thing that Ford and Toyota are spearheading that keeps CarPlay from being implemented. So they can even implement like support, not even just as the primary thing, but support for CarPlay in a bunch of like, they're never going to get the buy-in for manufacturers to determine where the phone is in 3D space. Like that's, man. But if you could, then that's even more difficult, because what if I'm the driver and I hold in an even more unsafe manner, I hold the phone hovering over the passenger seat while I'm driving, and I just look out of the right, like stupid people are going to do stupid things all the stupid time. And
stupid people are smart, because they'll try to find the ways around it.
They're gonna have a foolproof workaround. Yeah. Nothing is foolproof from fools. The only real solution to this is self-driving cars, machine driving cars, the robots driving us around. I can't wait. And if all the rumors are true and Apple keeps pushing it as a priority, we're going to see their Project Titan self-driving car, or at least the support for the software or the hardware, and that'll be their true solution to this: is take away the ability for the human or for the thing or person driving the car to even get distracted, because it's actually a robot, and you can't distract the robot.
Yeah. I don't want to jump too deep into that, but it is rumored that Apple has just fired everyone that was working on Project Titan.
I know, that would make me really sad.
Or moved everyone. Yeah, so
yeah, we
will see. But I mean, we had CES this week, and there was another company, Faraday, that just came out with that's coming out with a self-driving car and an electric car. So we'll see. I mean, I will probably have self-driving cars fairly prominent in the next 10, 15, 20 years.
Easily. I've been saying my kids are never going to get a driver's license. They're never going to drive a car for like a good amount of time. They'll do it for leisure. I'm sure we'll be able to go and drive a car somewhere, but they won't have licenses. We'll have self-driving cars everywhere. We won't even have steering wheels within the next 20 years. Yeah, which would be great.
That'd be awesome. I can't wait for that.
I know, right?
Well, we just need to wait for all the laws to catch up with technology to see, how it's going to work out. But
we should definitely talk about self-driving cars on a future episode. We are going to talk about CES, this is the Consumer Electronics Show, on the next episode, since it's in the middle of it right now. We're going to keep track of that and talk about our favorite stuff from CES next week.
Yeah, can't wait.
So speaking of the future, right now we are going to switch topics a little bit. I think we all pretty much came to the conclusion that it's not Apple's fault. It's this asshole that was using FaceTime while driving. It sucks that this person lost their 5-year-old daughter. I can't imagine what that was like, but I was just curious what everyone else's opinion was, especially yours, Jake, because you have a child, or you have two children.
Totally fuck that guy. That guy gets my number one scorn. Jackass of the year. Fuck him.
So we will actually be cutting this episode short rather abruptly. In our next podcast, we will be discussing the HBO series Westworld. Our discussion lasted rather long on this topic, and we thought it would be better to break this up into 2 episodes. If you have not seen Westworld, we highly recommend that you do so before listening to the next podcast, as the podcast will contain lots of spoilers. I just wanted to say thank you for joining us today. As always, you can reach us on Twitter at TRYbcast. And please let us know what you liked, what you hated, and any other opinions that you have on the stories that we covered today. Again, thanks for listening. Goodbye.